everybody. Welcome back to E3 2018. I'm still here. I'm Ben Hanson, joined by Ben Reeves.
Hello.
Too busy to even look me in the eye, Ben Reeves.
I'm sorry, I'm
He's
texting
tweeting.
VIP right now.
Fantastic. And Imran Kahn,
I also never left.
news editor from Game Informer. And from Game Informer Australia, the exotic lands, the faraway lands of Forza Horizon 3, and all your other favorites, David Milner.
Hello, Ben. How you doing?
Real good. We only get to see you once a year. Why don't you ever come to Minnesota, man?
It's cold.
Yeah, look.
Yeah.
That's
No, right now. It's good. You'd
Eh.
love it. It's just like Australia.
All right.
We got giant spiders.
all over
Yeah,
the place.
all over the place.
There's
You'll love it.
snowflakes that fall from the sky. Okay, so you're from Game Informer Australia.
Absolutely.
It's a completely separate magazine, or it's basically the magazine where you kind of shove some of your articles on top of it and call it
Yeah.
Game Informer Australia. What is the setup here?
I just choose the good stuff you guys do, and I
Right.
ditch the bad stuff.
So it's like
you
3
guys-
pages?
No,
Oh.
Zing Game Informer. Really, though, subscribe now. It's a great magazine. Everybody should check it out. We're here at E3 2018. We've been seeing a lot of fun games. There's still games that we haven't really talked about on the podcast, which seems unbelievable because it seems like we've covered a lot of ground. Let's start things off. Dave Milner, seems like you had a life-fulfilling moment today.
Yeah, I had a really cool surprise. I had Activision mystery appointment on my timetable, and I was convinced it was a theater demo, and it ended up being a one-on-one interview with Miyazaki-san from Software.
Wow.
Okay, wait. This is interesting for people outside of E3, I think, like how this stuff gets set up. It's just somebody from Activision reaches out and says, do you want to take mystery appointment A?
Yeah, exactly. And usually my inclination is tell me more, and if they say we can't, I generally say, well, no.
Right.
But Activision don't release new IP. Like, that's not a thing they do very
They're
often.
focused, yeah.
So I
Right.
was kind of
Like,
intrigued.
wait a minute.
What do you mean you guys got a new game? That's not Skylanders. That's not Call of Duty. So I was
You only
intrigued.
got 3 things. Yeah.
Yeah, so I said yes. I would have appreciated some prep time because interviews do actually require some thought, but at the same time, I'm a huge fan of this man's work.
What if you weren't, though?
Yeah,
What a
it would have
nightmare.
been the most awkward 30 minutes of my life.
The good news is, like, from that Dark Souls 3 cover story trip when we went to From Software is a good lesson in, like, oh, he's just a big old nerd dude. People expect him to be this, like, scary, intimidating beast that's going to punch you over the head. But it's like, he's just some D&D dork. It's not that
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah,
right?
it was genuinely lovely, and I mean, it's always tough when you're interviewing someone through a translator, but his personality came across. He was a funny guy.
What's the most insightful thing you learned about Sekiro, Shadow's Edgewise?
I think, people are going to assume that it's Ninja Souls,
Right.
and I don't think it is.
Hmm.
So,
How so?
mostly the way movement works in the game. You have a grappling hook. I mean,
Right.
you're not that mobile in Dark Souls. You're sort of stuck in an environment, and you need to deal with the challenges thrown at you. Big boss, you just have to deal with it. I saw a boss fight, and this ninja was hooking into the trees and jumping around and evading, and stuff that you don't do in a From Software game, and that was
Right.
kind of fascinating.
But it still looked like it felt like Dark Souls. Do you feel like people are going to be turned off if they're a Souls fan and go into this game?
I wasn't turned off. Like,
All right,
I got.
you're very
I think this is
turned
my. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far,
I
but I
see.
think this is definitely the game that excited me the most. It's the game that made me feel real human emotion at E3 this
Congratulations!
year.
Wow.
I know,
You
it's
did
big. It's
it!
big. It's
Wow.
big.
Yeah.
Birth of the Sun was like a 5 out of 10, but this is something else.
Yeah, no, it's been a while since I felt something.
Is that how Australians are?
We're just dead. That's how games journalists are. We're just dead inside.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, so it was very fast. It was very open. The map allegedly functions the way they usually do. It's all interconnected, so you get a
Okay.
continuous path the whole way through, which is exciting. I'm trying to remember because it's all such a blur. I didn't have
Yeah.
questions written down.
Did you play the game? Sorry.
No one's
Okay.
playing the game.
Did you see any like stealth stuff? So is that stuff that like in the trailer kind of looked like there's some
Yeah,
stealth
so
sequences?
they're
and I'm
calling
curious.
they're calling it light stealth,
Okay.
and it's kind of Assassin's Creed-ish. It's thinning the herd before you go in there. With
Okay.
your sword.
Sure.
So we saw the ninja climb a tree. We saw him jump down, do an aerial assassination, kill a few guys, crawl along a wall, hide in some shadows, that sort of stuff. But I think ultimately they do want you to get the sword out. Miyazaki was saying that what he wants from this game is like steel on steel. He wants that samurai showdown kind of vibe. And
Yeah.
that sounds
The
so
thing that
cool.
hurt things that like, what do you do in Dark Souls when you have a lot of enemies? You go there and you try to pick one off one at a time and pray you don't get close enough to aggro someone else. So it makes sense to actually put a mechanic
Exactly.
in there.
Exactly. It does feel like a logical extension of a lot of the stuff they do. There was some cool stuff around death. I mean, such a key part of Souls and Bloodborne.
Right.
And they have this mechanic called Resurrect, where they didn't explain the details, but you can die as a deliberate strategy. So they kill you, you actually do die. I don't know how it works in the lore, but then the enemies, that guy's dead, and they walk off, and they go and they
Job done.
Yeah, they reset the situation, and then you can just rise from the grave and stab them in the back again, which is
Alright.
kind of
That's
interesting.
probably like just a cool off if you're getting like killed by like too many dudes. Like, hey, back off, guys. I'm dead.
Or
Yeah, just like
Miyazaki
that.
really likes Never Dead.
Maybe.
He's a huge
Does that
fan.
cost like souls or something or what?
That they would not explain that,
Oh,
and they didn't even
alright.
explain whether there are the souls
Sure.
equivalent. There is a bonfire equivalent, something
Okay.
about an ancient statue. That, I don't know,
Slice the head off at checkpoint.
probably.
Interesting.
But yeah, they did not. They said there is a progression system, but it's not like what they've had before.
I like it.
Yeah.
It seemed like the most exciting thing that a lot of us have seen so far today. Maybe the game of the show, talk of the show at least. Cyberpunk 2077. Reeves, did you get a chance to see it yet?
No, I swung by and the line was crazy, and
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody I knew PR wise. So I'm gonna try swing by tomorrow and cut in front of everybody else.
You should. I got. This is like a.
Oh,
good,
did you see it?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
it was
I'm
like an
super jealous
E3
now.
Hail
Okay.
Mary where I went up and saw that crazy line, poked around the edges a little bit, and then a door happened to open, and the CEO of CD Projekt Red walked out,
Sure.
and I was like, "Hey, Ben from Game Informer, I was on the Witcher 3 cover story trip. I visited your studio 5 years ago."
Remember me? Game
Please
Informer?
remember me.
Witcher?
Yeah, it was a great time. We put it on the cover like that ago. And he was so sweet. He's like, "All right, let's go right this way. We'll get you in this demo." And so it was like crammed against the far back wall, right next to a speaker. So a lot of the audio was like distorted and kind of tough to hear the presenter. But so Imran, you saw it too?
I did.
I saw
Okay.
it.
I snuck
Dave,
in
you
with
saw it?
Kim, and she very nicely asked all the PR people to please let me in.
Please.
He's like, he's our news editor, and he's very small. He won't take up much space.
Yeah, there's so much buzz. It was a huge line. People were banging down the doors to get into this thing. It's a hell of a booth.
hmm
Does that mean you guys didn't get the statues?
Oh, I got the statue.
Okay,
I didn't
that's
get
good.
the
I didn't look at the statue until I accepted it, which I probably should have. Which it's if people haven't seen it, it's a woman scantily clad, but she has no like arms and legs. She like has like robot limbs.
It's the lady from the debut trailer,
It
not
is.
the one this
It
year,
is.
but like 5 years
And it was
ago.
Yeah.
incredibly awkward to carry around for the rest of the day.
But
Yeah.
still worth it in the
Yeah.
end.
I think I left mine in the Game Informer like booth. At the
There was
moment.
like a stack of three
Yes.
of them.
'Cause they gave
Game
me-
Informer,
me-
it's like all the people that went and saw the demo and didn't want it, just
Yeah.
like stack them up. Yeah, I'll leave this here.
like the idea is if somebody comes in and takes it, oh well,
Yeah.
nothing we can do.
So we got some toys, but that's about it. Let's see.
But the
We're
game-
talking about
no,
like
no, no,
Rise of the
the
Tomb.
game-
No. But so you seemed kind of down on it earlier, like based on that trailer, the
No.
announced trailer.
I don't think I was down on it. I think I was just shocked by the shifting tone from what I was expecting.
Okay.
I think that second trailer, I don't know if like the darkness really was conveyed as much as I thought it was going to be. It felt more, as we talked about, a little bit more Ready Player One than I was
Mhm.
expecting. But seeing that demo, like this is a very mature game, and they're key to point it out. But yeah, it's sexy. There's naked bodies all over the place. A lot of swearing.
Okay.
It's darker than that trailer would imply.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kind of like your
absolutely.
prom night, right?
Oh,
This
okay.
is gonna sound like the most obvious thing ever, but it's a lot more punk than I thought it would be.
Yeah? How so?
Like that's the amount of, like you said, there's swearing, the dialogue, the general kind of laissez-faire, don't give a crap mentality of the main character.
Yeah.
Like I assumed it would be kind of cyber noir more than it is. Which I mean, I don't necessarily need it to be that. I like the way the
Mhm.
demo they showed us.
Is it as cyber as you thought it would be?
It is as cyber as I thought it was. So that part, 100%.
Is it as 2077?
It's a good question.
I don't know. I feel like maybe 2076. They may be a little inaccurate there.
Right. This thing, I don't know if we should just get out of the gate talking about this. Like, good God. Like, I watched that demo, and all I could think about as I was leaving that theater was like, I wonder if Bethesda saw this demo, because like, goodbye Bethesda, goodbye BioWare. Like, holy
What? Really?
Jesus, this thing's
Oh,
impressive. I don't know if
okay.
that's been conveyed to you yet, Reeves.
I mean, like the thing I would, yeah,
I mean, I listened to Kim and Reiner talk a little bit about it, and they seemed like, and Kim especially, because she was like, after seeing the trailer,
Yeah,
she was
a
kind of
little bit down on it, and then after seeing the demo, she was like 180, like this is the best game of the show, like it's amazing.
Mm.
It's
So-
absurd. And also, I'm sure a version of it will run on this generation, but seeing that demo, it's
Yeah,
like this
there's
is
no
going to
way.
be pushing it.
It
It was
was-
running on a PC.
It was like when you saw Witcher 3 the first time. They're like, that's not being on the PS3 and 360. ever.
right, yeah.
But
Dave,
somehow they did it.
what did you think
Oh,
overall
360.
about that
though.
demo?
You're right. They did not do that.
The demo stuff. I mean, I was surprised by what it was at first. I was
Yeah.
expecting something that looked a little bit more like The Witcher 3. It is
Yeah.
a first-person Witcher 3 set in the Deus Ex universe, a colorful version of the Deus Ex universe.
Yeah,
With the gunplay looked like Crysis almost, with all these mech suit abilities kind of stuff.
yeah, totally. It reminded me a little bit of Titanfall. Like later on in the demo, it's like a 40-minute demo, just crazy in depth. But later on, you unlocked a couple different weapons that you could kind of hone into enemies. I don't know what the best way to phrase that would be, where you can like lock onto them, and then the bullets would like ricochet off of walls, kind of like the
Yeah.
smart
Yeah, that's
pistol. Like they would even like curve around things just to track those enemies.
Yeah, like the tracking pistol in Titanfall, totally.
Right.
Yeah, I was overwhelmed by the ambition. I mean, it's such a. The demo starts in a really small, confined space. You're in an apartment building. You're raiding this corridor, and it's clearly designed that way so that as soon as you get out of the apartment, you're overwhelmed by the city that you see. And it's Blade Runner basically.
Yeah, it's a slightly more upbeat, but still dark as hell world. But it's different enough from Blade Runner where I don't feel like it's cliche. Speaking of which, as I was leaving the theater, David Cage was also exiting the theater, so I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But
Was
that's
he weeping?
yeah, exactly.
Was he like, androids are good?
ripping up his next script? Ah, damn it! Can't get anything right.
Just keep ripping them up, David.
Yeah, but they did such a good
No
job.
comment.
And the most interesting part of that demo, like there was a lot. They bring you through basically one short quest. It felt like the beginning of the game, and maybe it's just the demo.
I think it was.
Do you think so?
It said you've gone from level 1 to level 2, but they could have fudged
For
that.
sure. And they also have like the title splash, but it's like
Yeah.
that very contained little mission, like you said, in the apartment where you're jacking into this corpse and then you're actually picking up this naked woman after you like Pulp Fiction put a syringe in her chest and you're like hauling this naked woman out of the apartment. It's like, this is a bizarre tone.
And the nipple is right. in
Yeah.
your
nipples
view,
like at least 40 pixels wide.
What is this? Why are you doing all this?
What do you
Do,
mean?
do they,
You have some sort of mission.
oh, it's just a
yeah.
Thursday night? Is that what it is?
Come on.
You have some mission, I think, to rescue a woman,
Okay.
and like you find her in the back of a drug den, I guess you would call it,
Okay.
and she's like passed out. You call you check her to see what her insurance is first,
Sure.
and it says like, oh, she's super rich, she has great insurance, so that means the ambulance will get there faster.
She's worth. Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's a
okay, that's kinda-
militarized ambulance service that will basically die for you.
Yeah,
Really?
like they threaten
Yeah,
to shoot
okay.
you for getting too close to the
All right.
body.
That's
Ah,
bleak.
that
That's
sounds kind
bleak
of cool,
as
actually.
hell.
I gotta admit, like
Yeah.
that's like the kind of world building that
Mhm.
sounds really cool.
Yeah, and that's the most interesting thing about the demo, I think. Like the action looks solid. I was bracing for something with the gunplay more akin to like a Fallout 4. I think it looks better
I think it
than
looks-
Fallout 4 shooting overall. I mean, it's not going to look like Call of Duty.
Did
know?
you guys mention this first person?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
did.
they
Okay.
hit that. It
I
is
just wanted to
shocking,
make
though.
sure.
Like even
Mhm.
though you're bracing for it, like when they first get into this demo, it's like, hey, this isn't Witcher 3.
Yeah,
Like this is.
there's a little bit of wall running even in the first person.
Really?
combat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
one
what
of the
gets crazy,
abilities.
Reeves, is you remember in that first trailer, the lady with the blades? They're
Yeah.
called Mantis blades.
Okay.
And later on in the demo, you unlock them. And then she's like wall running and then like stabs the blades into the wall and then just hangs up there and like shoots enemies
So
before she runs down and slices off heads.
is this another character? Or is this you?
This is
is
you.
you.
This is
okay.
V.
You have those mantis blades.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can eventually upgrade to them. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But that world
Yeah.
is stupid. There are so many NPCs roaming around in that city, and it just looks. It doesn't look canned. I felt like they could have stopped at any moment and just stared at something for 5 minutes, and you could have just absorbed everything there.
Yeah, like they were bragging that like we have like the best city tech in the world now, which if you look at it, it really looks like it.
I mean, Witcher 3 had pretty good city tech.
Yeah.
Even to be like that's big city of theirs was
Mhm.
good.
This
Yeah.
is easily like the small bit they showed of the like central hub
Yeah.
looked like easily a couple of hundred distinct people.
Okay.
Yeah, it's absurd. And they said so it all takes place in Night City, and
Yep.
Night City has 6 different districts. And something I wasn't expecting is part of the way into the demo, the main character just jumps into a car, and then you're driving a
Yeah.
car around
Mhm.
first person.
Oh, first person.
Yeah.
Well, also you
That
can
was the
back
only
off,
time
but
they zoomed out to third person
Yeah.
mode. Like
Yeah,
you
you're
could drive
right.
in third person,
Okay.
but I didn't see on foot third person.
I
at
wonder
all.
if there will be third person for like the non-driving
Huh.
segments.
I don't
I-
think so.
I think the demo was pretty clear. Like he did say this is a first person.
Yeah.
game.
It is
Like,
weird. I like first person games, and I drive in first person all the time in real life. But for some reason, driving in first person in video games,
It
is
feels like you
weird.
don't have enough.
sucks. I'm
Yeah.
the same. You
wide
just don't see
vision.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's good.
Other big impressions? What else stood out to you guys from that demo?
That the partner, I'm pretty sure, was voiced by John DiMaggio, and I couldn't not hear Waka after a certain point.
Oh, really?
I-
This is like the
that's-
Hispanic guy, the
Yeah.
buddy?
Which at one Surreal Vasquez, we both went to the demo together, and on the way back, he was reminding me that every single line they had to have that last word of Spanish in there that reminds you that he's Hispanic. And
Come on, hombre. It's a lot of that type of thing.
like
That
everything
gets
like
old pretty
pendejo,
quick. Yeah.
that's kind of. I mean,
He's also the
Yeah.
character who said, "I got news as big as my balls" at one point, right?
yes.
There were some cringy lines.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know about balls.
Reeves, are you really
Yeah.
you're interested?
That's
Shorts,
right.
by the way, looking good, man.
Oh.
I
The writing wasn't bad, but it definitely was just one of those things of like, oh, that partner,
Yeah.
that could
Well,
get annoying. At a
Well, perhaps it
certain
wasn't the
point.
writing was bad. This character is just designed to be
Mhm.
cringy, perhaps.
I think that could be it.
Hmm.
Yeah, but definitely your character had more spunk, like you mentioned, a little more punky attitude. And they basically have the role of being a witcher in this world, where they're kind of like a
Sure.
mercenary for hire, roaming around. Like they don't belong to anybody. They're going to do their own thing and solve
Sure.
problems, take quests from who they want. Like,
And
And your
they
demo
talk?
did. Oh, go ahead.
They talk. They're like a voiced character.
Yeah.
yeah.
absolutely.
Did
for
they
sure.
go through the character creator or any
They
of that?
showed it, so you don't choose a. We didn't see any classes. They said it was more
Yeah,
fluid than that.
class
They
fluid.
deliberately
Yeah, you
said
don't
that.
start out choosing a class.
You it was a bit like Mass Effect. You chose your backstory. You chose the tragic events that happened in your life, and that affected certain stats.
Okay.
Male and female, fully customizable faces and appearances.
Okay. Just like real life.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can always choose what we look like.
Sure.
I think the thing that impressed me was it was that classic CD Projekt thing where one long quest kind of felt like 4 or 5 quests tied
Yeah.
together. You never know where one quest starts and one quest ends.
Yeah,
You got
for
this
sure.
first little task, then you need to go get the gun,
Oh,
and you got
that's cool.
basically the quest was we needed to get a mech from
yeah,
some
little bot
gangsters that
thing.
had stolen
Right.
it, and you could choose how you do it. You could go get the money from a legitimate source. You could rob people. You
That's
could-
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I didn't see this demo, but I love The Witcher, and like what those guys did, and just like integrating story with mission design, like
Yeah,
is like
absolutely.
top tier, first in class. Like, it could be the most boring mission objective in the world, but the way they like integrate a story into it, like it felt like the coolest thing. Like, so I'm on board. I love the setting even more than The Witcher, I think. So I'm really gonna just, I don't know, I'm gonna sneak in somehow tomorrow. And see
You
this.
definitely
Yeah,
should.
You
Yeah.
definitely should.
In your demos, did they mention that when the guy leaves the apartment, they talked about how you can have one night stands?
No, I don't think I heard that.
No, he
Yeah.
just said like you can interact in this world with in interesting ways and very mature ways. I think with
Yeah,
the line where it's like, is that
Wink,
implied?
wink.
He mentioned
Yeah.
that he said it even for one night,
Oh, interesting.
which is why I think
okay.
like that guy just left.
Huh?
Oh, okay, yeah, because it starts out with some guy in your apartment heading out, and they chose
Okay.
to play as the lady version of V
Sure.
in this
Yeah.
demo as well. That seems cool. Sorry, BioWare, we got romances in this one, and they're going to be extreme in every possible way.
What did you guys think of the inhaler? Was that heavily implied drug use? Because I'm worried this game is going to get banned in Australia.
Yes,
basically.
I saw
Oh,
your tweet
really?
about that. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why do you think
definitely.
that?
You don't
Uh,
have any asthmatics in Australia?
I mean, that's how they should spin it. That's absolutely how they should
Oh,
spin
no,
it.
it's
No,
just-
the historically the thing that gets games stricken off is drug use tied to gameplay enhancements, and this was definitely a buff. kind
And
of
We
thing.
Happy Few, just
Uh,
just an example.
Exactly. You just covered that on the site.
Yeah.
This is almost an identical situation,
Mhm.
basically. Doesn't matter whether it's a fictional drug, apparently, because of We Happy Few is called Joy. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's just speculation. I'm sure they will sort it out.
Right, but it is so Reeves, like throughout the demo, a lot. It seems like you're taking a little inhaler type thing. It really looks like an old fashioned inhaler to
Okay.
like get your health recovery, also to slow down time in some shootouts.
That's how it works.
Yeah, it was wild.
All right.
And also, like, there are a lot of numbers flying off these enemies. The UI is interesting. You know how like Fallout's UI looks a little bit outdated and odd. It's just like that hyper green everywhere.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but if everything's red. There's
Okay.
a lot of red text on the screen. I was kind of struck. It's
Small text, too.
Does it look
Yeah.
cool though?
what's that?
Does it look cool? Did you like it? or-
It's unique. I wonder how much they're going to tweak it.
It's
It's
kind of
not.
like Terminator vision, right? Isn't that?
It
red
does,
text?
yeah. Kind of
Yeah.
like that overall, and even like they create a class, or like when you create the character in the start of the game, and you're choosing like your backstory about whether or not your sibling died and all that stuff. Everything's just hyper red. It's like creating a character in a Virtua Boy or something. It's a weird vibe.
Kind of old school, too. Like, really simple fonts and...
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like, they'll have like tracking on the screen, like for where other characters are
Sure.
around you and stuff. So It's aggressive, but I guess it's a unique take, and I will trust these guys to do whatever the hell they want with this game.
I think they've earned that right. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I really liked about the world building is it doesn't do that thing every other game does, where it acts like you're an idiot and explains things to you because you as the player don't understand the world yet. Everything to them is very matter of fact because they've been living in the world.
Right.
So like when they do bother to explain things, it is in a very natural way.
Okay. I love that. That's the most grating thing when you see it in a movie or a game is like, and this is this way because of blah.
Yeah, they do a good job with that. Yeah, you're right. It's not your main character isn't waking up having been in a coma for 100 years or something. So like at some point she gets like an enhancement, and the surgeon's kind of like walking her through what's happening to her arm, and it makes sense in the context of like replaces her eye or like changes her eye so that she can like zoom in, which is bizarre. And he makes some reference to like, you can trust me in my Gannic hand, as he calls it. Like,
Gannic hand.
That being said, I'm pretty sure the powerful woman from the corporation said, "Corporations rule this world. We get what we want."
Yeah, that was
it's a bit on the nose.
a bit on the nose, but still very cyberpunk.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of like the trailer too, where he's talking about, my name's V, and I live in the biggest city in the world, Night Vale or whatever.
It's a trailer.
Yeah, for sure. The it was also fun when I left the theater. The is it William Gibson? What's the name of the creator of Cyberpunk?
If that sounds right.
Okay, something like that. He
tweeted about it. Yeah.
He tweeted and he wasn't too.
He's
fond
down
of
on
that
it.
trailer.
Yeah.
But he was there. I don't know if CD Projekt Red was like, let us show you the
really?
actual gameplay. But yeah, he was there. I
He's
shook
here
his
at
hand
E3?
briefly. Yep.
Oh, weird.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I didn't get his
Cool.
thoughts on the gameplay, but I'm sure they're giving him the full court press to be like, look, we're honoring your game.
Please,
Don't judge on the
come
trailer.
around.
Stop
Come on.
tweeting.
Yeah. It feels weird to have like this old school style E3 demo where it's 40 minutes behind closed doors and people are just left to vaguely tell the tale of like, and then the character was in first person and they slid on the floor for this one part and it was totally awesome. And then they did this and they did this.
The last 5 years, it's been like, they'll do a demo and then like the next day, like that demo that you see at E3 is just on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that publishers would want to do that.
Yeah.
But you rarely get this like behind closed doors demo that they don't show to anybody else.
I mean, they're kind of old school, those guys.
I mean, they'll probably put it up online eventually.
I mean,
Yeah,
tomorrow
they have to,
probably,
right?
but
But
yeah.
yeah, tomorrow as soon as we now that we've said this. But
Yeah. And it was somebody playing too, just in case
Yeah.
anybody's suspicious. Like the game looked great, absolutely amazing. There were occasional hiccups here and there, so it wasn't like a finely polished video for 40 minutes. You could tell that
No,
it was legit.
The person who was playing hits like a trash can during our demo.
You're right. Okay.
So-
Also, this is crucial. The world needs to know. In the menus, from what we saw, Destiny cursor. Free floating
Really?
cursor in
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, there we go, boys. Also,
All right.
I was surprised by loot on the equipment screen. There was like a purple gun that was called like an epic. So I don't know if they're going pure Diablo colors, but it's in there.
Did Witcher
Well,
3 have rarity?
purple's pretty common for Epic, right?
Oh yeah,
Or for Legendary.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think, but because Blizzard set that standard, I believe it's them that set the color code.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Feeling good about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the bigger question is, when's it coming out?
Have they said
I
2019
think,
or
I
anything?
think they might have done,
No.
but I remember I saw
I
The
think
Witcher
they said
3.
2077. Yeah.
We could not make this more clear, you
Yeah.
guys. We put in the title of the game.
Long way to go, guys. I'm pretty sure I saw The Witcher 3 at maybe 2 or 3 E3s before it came out.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was around
Just
for a
putting
while,
it,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you're totally right. And it'd be a hell of a game to launch the next generation with, for sure.
absolutely.
God, really though, looking at that game and then going back and looking at something even like Fallout 76.
Sure.
Oh boy.
I mean, well, that's this year. Although you did mention Bethesda and BioWare, and Bethesda's next game is Starfield, which is sci-fi. Because it'd be
Right.
interesting if their game and this launched the
That would
same
be
year.
interesting.
Like, I don't know.
oh,
that's
man.
possible.
So many comparison videos. Get ready.
Yeah,
for
I'm sure
it.
there will be.
Yeah, but I can't imagine Starfield will come anywhere close to having the density of this world. Like that's the crazy thing.
Well, it reminds me, like BioWare released Dragon Age, the third one, Inquisition. That was going to come out the same year as Witcher 3, but Witcher 3 got delayed, which is I think was a good thing for BioWare Inquisition
Yeah.
because like comparing those two games is like
Yeah.
Well,
just
Inquisition
Witcher
got our
3
Game of the
blows
Year.
it out of the water. Yeah, that's because we hadn't played Witcher yet.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about it for a while.
I think so. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't take out our Hot 50, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll see. But I know that Andy and Renner saw it, and they're both salivating. So, good God, it's going to be big. Resident Evil 2 remake. Reeves, you
Where
saw
do we
it?
go from there? No, that sounded way more negative than that. Actually, Resident Evil 2 is possibly my game of the show because
Really?
I haven't seen Cyberpunk
I'm actually
yet.
there too.
Yeah,
Like, having
Oh,
seen
really?
Cyberpunk,
I
I
really
think I
liked
liked
it
Resident
too.
Evil 2 more.
yeah, I'm admittedly I'm all in on this. Like RE2 is one of my favorite games of all time to begin with.
Mhm.
So like I'm going in hot on this and wanting to like it. But they were checking off all my boxes, right?
List
like-
those boxes.
it's
What are they checking off?
over the shoulder camera
For.
and like normal controls, no tank controls. You can move and shoot, like all the like good stuff. But it's not like super actiony like 4 was. It's a little bit slower paced and moodier and scary.
So is it the start of RE2 that they showed off?
They showed off the police station, which is very near the start
Right.
of
It's
RE2.
not out in the street.
Right.
Okay.
And like the Resident Evil remake on the GameCube, they kind of play with your expectations a little bit. So you go through the police station on a different route.
But it's still the same structure.
But the layout is almost identical.
Okay.
One thing they pointed out is a lot of people have made fun of the RE2 for not having bathrooms in their police station, like the original one.
People talked about that?
Yeah,
Really?
yep. But they added bathrooms this time around. So
Did they really go out of their way to point
Yep.
that out?
Yeah,
We've
in the
heard the
interview.
fans.
What is this demo? Are you playing it? Are you watching in a big
yeah, I
theater?
got to play it. Yeah.
Oh, you got
And
to play
Imran
it.
played it too, actually.
How cool was the room? It was like a haunted house with blood all over the wall.
They have a haunted house in there. There's like
Did
a
you play somewhere
maze when you
else?
go in for the game.
Yeah.
Well, their booth I was talking about is a haunted house. So you go in and they have somebody
Yeah.
dressed up like a zombie and jumps out and tries to scare you.
Which I knew was going to happen, but
and
it still freaked me
terrified
out.
Imran. Yeah.
Imran, did you crap your pants?
I did not crap my
All
pants.
right, there we go.
But yeah, then you play in like kind of a I don't know if people care about this part of E3, but like you play in a
think it's interesting.
reconstructed. It's supposed to look like the police station. And it kind
Yeah.
of has that vibe.
Okay,
But it's
gotcha. Okay, so does it feel like something like the Revelation series, like a higher produced version of the Revelations?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Yeah. I think it feels better than that. It's because Revelations is still a little bit more actiony than this is.
Yeah.
This is slower. His run speed is actually. I played as Leon. His run speed is a little bit slow. I think that's intentional to like kind of ratchet up the tension when like zombies start crawling through the windows.
Sure.
Yeah.
The action is cool because I thought this was cool anyway. When you aim, your reticle is kind of like bigger and it starts to zoom in to a pinpoint. Like if you give it a second.
Catching Pokemon Go
Right.
style.
Yeah, exactly. You'll love this.
Uh,
And so lining up headshots, you kind of want to wait a second. So it builds up the tension because you're trying to get like a finer headshot.
that seems like a pretty dramatic change to gameplay there. That's wild.
Yeah, I liked it because it ratcheted up the tension a little bit.
Sure, you got to look
And-
at these freaky things.
Right, yeah. And it's not, again, super action-packed like you have like 20 dudes coming at you. You'll have 2 or 3, but because of the fine point aiming, like it's kind of like tense.
But also, it's incredibly. Even if you do have 2 or 3 is a lot for that system. So there was a part where I think once you get the booklet from the officer who
Right.
dies, that you have to run back out and a bunch of zombies start flooding into the halls.
Right.
And by a bunch, I mean like 3. But it's incredibly difficult because I can't take the time to sit there and aim at a zombie head while another zombie is coming behind me.
Right. And it's traditional survival horror, so you're going to have to manage your resources, your ammo. I ran out of ammo at one point.
I got maybe
Really?
30 bullets during the entire demo.
Yeah. But the cool thing is the map system, I think, is super smart. It shows you like which rooms you've completely searched and which ones you haven't.
Completely searched.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
That's
it's like
interesting.
this one's cleared, so you know you got all the stuff from that room.
Yeah.
And it also like auto highlights stuff as soon as like you go into a room and you get close to an object, it'll
Yeah.
like show up on your map. So you know, oh, I left a spray there because I couldn't pick it up. So I
Right.
can go back and pick that up or pick up some ammo because I left it there.
Yeah, we have some guests walking in. Guys, help yourself, have a seat. There's some beer in the fridge, some water in the fridge, whatever you guys want. You'll be on in a little bit. Hey, folks. So it feels like exactly what you wanted from Resident Evil 2?
I think it is exactly what I
Yeah.
want from a Resident Evil 2 remake. It's like got rid of the camera and controls, which everybody, I don't want to say everybody, a lot of people were like, these things are pretty dated at this point.
Yeah.
They're reshaping the sort of shape of the campaign a little bit, but they're still like holding true to what you remember about it. I will say we asked about the zapping system because you could play like through twice and like your playthrough with one character would affect the playthrough with the other one.
Help me out. Zapping's what they called it?
That's what they
Zapping,
called it. Yeah,
Because Kamiya and Mikami really like that word.
I guess it doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're not really doing that, but they are going to have 2 campaigns. So Leon and Claire will have like separate campaigns.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Through the same environments?
So the idea in
impression I
Resident
got
Evil 2
was different. Yeah.
Oh,
The idea in
wow.
Resident Evil 2 was that they were going through the PlayStation at the same time.
Yeah.
So let's say in Leo's scenario 1, you turn on some gas and it makes the enemy stronger for Claire scenario B. So they're not doing that this time, but they are going to have the same basic story. I think the
Why not, though? That sounds cool.
It was cool, but I mean, it's a lot of work.
It's
That's
very
kinda the thing.
it's
And
very
so-
tedious to get certain enemies to show up. Like to actually see the results of the zapping system required a lot of backtracking. So they're like, that's too tedious. We want to try and make it easier for people to see the cool stuff.
right. And the benefit, I think, is like both campaigns will feel different.
Yeah.
And so you'll get like a better story, a better feel for the game, and 2 campaigns for one. There you
Yeah.
go.
That's
One
fine.
thing I think was super cool was like in that demo I probably killed like let's say 10, 15 zombies, but each and every single one looked different. It looked like a distinct different person,
Not just a police guy every single time?
not just a police guy every single time. And the reason that is because RE2 is using the RE7 engine, and that has a I forget the word, like phototelemetry or something like that.
Uh-huh.
That they
Sounds like a buzzword.
yeah, but what they do is they take pictures of things and then they like scan it in on top of the models.
Yeah, it looks really good. I think.
There was one particular scene where a zombie's head has been cleaved in half, and
Yeah.
you can see the sinews pulling out of it, and that was incredibly graphic and
Yeah?
photorealistic. It was like a Mortal Kombat X fatality, but zoomed in much closer.
Reeves, you're gonna have to help me remember if this was a thing in RE2, but the boards to block up windows.
No, that's not a thing.
Okay.
So I didn't do that. Did you do that?
I ended up doing it once because I saw the zombie getting in from a window I'd broken.
Okay, yeah. So you find like
Mhm.
boards, and you can board up windows when zombies like break in, and then board it up so
That's
that they
really
can't get
weird in a
more.
game like Resident Evil. So is it implying that it's a little more dynamic than the original one?
Yeah, I think it's because you're backtracking through areas, and so to like shore up your defenses a little bit.
Yeah.
The other thing, speaking of that, is I love in the Resident Evil remake on GameCube, they would have defensive weapons like knives
Hey,
and
Tim,
stuff.
there's a camera right behind you, goofus.
Tim, come in front of it over
Tim
here.
Turner,
if you
everybody. Come
want.
on, Mike.
Hey.
Come on. We're talking about Resident Evil. If you want
You
to
want
jump
to
in,
come talk
man.
about it?
Yeah, come in. Take my spot, please. We've covered absolutely every detail in exhaustive amounts, but go ahead and dive in, please.
Okay, all right, cool.
Uh,
As long as every stone has been uncovered.
There's nothing more you can say about this. Except for the thing I'm about to say is I was talking about the knives actually in a Resident Evil remake for the GameCube. I don't know if you remember those, the defensive weapons. That was the only place, unless I'm wrong, where those showed up. And they're bringing them back as like the combat knives. So like when a zombie comes in to attack you, you can use your combat knife and stab them, so they don't bite you.
You could also just use it as like a normal knife, like the Resident Evil 4 style knife would just swipe.
Yeah, and you can retrieve it from the zombie after you've used it.
Was
which
it
is
like
great.
that in the
favorite
original
things.
too?
Yeah, so you could retrieve them, but you had to get a headshot. So either you had to get lucky with like the sort of RNG behind using a handgun on a zombie, or you'd use the shotgun and then you'd like shoot the zombie's head off to be a very satisfying tink, and you could pick it back up. But now it's just easier just to get out to retrieve. So
Right.
yeah.
The one thing I didn't ask, and maybe Tim, you can help us out, is I remember like redhead zombies, the crimson heads in remake. I loved those. Are those returning? You want to share anything?
You
You
know
want to
what?
spoil and lose your job?
Thank you. Said the first question is something I cannot answer, which is fantastic. But, yeah, I mean, basically just showing off the enemies that are available in the demo, but are basically trying to live up to everybody's expectations about what they would like from a Resident Evil 2 game. But so did you all get a chance to play it?
We have all played it.
You've all played it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious to know your thoughts, though, Tim. We've been talking, so
Yeah. So I'm
like as a guy who works at Capcom, is this like a dream project?
so I'm super excited.
Just as a
obviously.
guy.
And you should
Yeah.
all pre-order it.
Yeah. So like, I mean, the reason that I joined Capcom to begin with was because of Resident Evil. Like they're ramping up for Resident Evil 7, and like I was just ready to jump in and help however I can. But I thought, and this is on record, that even ever before I started at Capcom, that the Resident Evil remake is the best horror game that's ever been made.
Right.
And I've stood by that. But one of the reasons I love that is because, like a good horror movie remake, not only is it a good retelling of the story in a really faithful way that kind of modernizes it, it plays off the expectations of what fans are going into. So
Right.
you know, you expect a jump scare or something to happen over here, and then they flip the script. That thing doesn't happen, and they blindside you. You know, I think in the demo there's a good example of the window in the West Hall, the precinct, where the liquor usually zips across the.
I was looking for him.
Hey Ben,
Yeah,
where the liquor zips across the window. That doesn't happen. Instead, you see claw marks in the wall and blood, and so there's like a nod. I feel seen as a fan that like they know my expectations going into that. And Hirabayashi-san, he worked on the Resident Evil remake. He knows those sorts of expectations that go into it, and I'm excited to see like even more how they subvert and kind of play with the expectations that fans have. But yeah, so I'm pumped for it. Like personally, I'm a big fan of like being able to have free aim and stuff. So
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think I was saying it's my game of the show so far. So
Yeah.
I'm
Same
excited,
here.
super stoked for
Not
it.
mine, but you know, it was cool.
Yeah, the haters over here, but
It's coming so ridiculously soon. Like I don't have to be excited for that long.
yeah. As a fan of games, and that's a good move. As a fan of games, and someone who also is now working on bringing them to market, like the shorter campaigns I'm all about those. Don't make people wait.
yeah, no, I love
And
that too.
We only ask people to wait
And
since
it comes out.
2015,
It comes out when?
January 25th.
That's awesome.
Tim, I didn't know you were swinging by.
Yeah, well, surprise.
Hey, good to have you. I'm glad you got the
Thanks for letting
tail end of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for letting me like sneak in here and crash. Now to talk about Mega Man 11.
Oh, God. All right, there we go. So you can jump in shooting this one. It looks great.
We already talked.
You got your cute little things where people can pose with the Buster there. It's
Totally
very
a
cute.
very different video game than Resident Evil 2.
But
the
cool.
self-defense items and headshots work very differently in Mega Man 11. Yeah.
But as a Resident Evil 2 nerd, it must be fun to like go around that booth and like have like cop car and like the rebuilt area.
100%.
Biggest nerd out moment? Is there anything you're really excited that they put in that little detail?
So I mean, like the weirdest, nerdiest thing was like when we were doing setup the first night, they were doing set dressing on the in the booth, and they realized that they had calendars, they had like cork boards that cops, like RPD cops, like theoretically would have been like putting notes up on. They're like, hey, can you just like write a bunch of notes for the set dressing? So it's just like, how can I do this? Okay, I think
Without breaking canon.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't know if the outbreak exactly happens on September 29th in this, retelling of the story, but it's just like, okay, dog attack. Let's investigate dog attack. Where's Barry? Rebecca's asking, where's my first aid medicine? Just like goofy stuff. But the whole experience, like the whole Capcom ride has been a big like fan nerd out extreme thing. So
Right.
Did you go through the main entrance of the booth where they have like the
I was too terrified.
corridor?
No, I didn't even go there.
Me and Imran did that.
Did you?
Yeah, it was good. There was a zombie that attacked us. The funny thing, like Serial did that. He was like the first visit of the show, and they didn't have that set up yet. So he just walked through this hallway. It was totally lit up, and nobody was in there. Like, what is this? Why is this crazy long
It's
hallway
like turning the
that
gamma
winds
all the
through?
way
Yeah.
up in a video game.
Right.
Crazy merger.
The equivalent, like they also have like this weird immersive theater thing at E3 going on for like Fallout 76, where they have these little booths where it's like, hey, a couple little rooms from Fallout, and they have like a fake scientist in there or someone like passing the time. But I was there so early that no fans or guests had gone in there, so I just stood and watched this person like trying to entertain themselves and act busy in like a 4x4 room for like 10 minutes, and they're like, let's check this calendar again by myself, and then ran over and scribbled something on the table.
Before we move on from RE2, Ben, we have to talk about the rat.
Oh, the rat's interesting. So they started off the trailer with a rat.
Yeah.
If you guys remember. And then we went and did our interview with
The producers.
the producers, and like they have this like stuffed
Hirabayashi, yeah.
they have the stuffed rat on the table. And they're like, oh, I'm curious what the deal with the rat is. And they're like, oh, this is Kevin Jr. And they started talking as the rat for a minute.
Like, hello, how are you doing?
Hello, how are you?
What the hell?
It was super weird.
That sounds cute, Tim.
We took a photo with them, and they insisted that Kevin Jr. be in the photo.
Yeah.
All right.
We actually had to retake the photo because the Kevin Jr. wasn't able to be seen.
The rats with the red eye.
Oh, okay. That's perfect.
The rats spread the virus.
That's true. So it is crucial. So it wasn't just a weird fake out with that trailer of having.
I mean,
it
there's
reminded me
sort
of
of a
the
reason
intro
there.
to Resident Evil Outbreak a little bit. There's like a really artful intro to that game where it takes place from the perspective of a rat.
Okay.
And you're like overseeing like Hunk's team being taken over by William Birkin and stuff like underneath the sewers and stuff. Really cool.
Yeah.
But,
Cool. Resident Evil 2 remake. When's it coming out, Tim? When's it coming out?
Resident Evil 2 comes out on January 25th.
There we go.
Takes place in Raccoon City.
Well, that sounds exciting. Very cool. You also played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but we have so many guests here that overall feeling good.
Overall, feeling good. I was a
Okay.
little worried when they moved it to a different studio in Montreal, but From what I played, it seems good.
Yeah?
Did you see the big hub, the Aztec city in the village?
What I played was a very sort of straightforward sequence, like some puzzling, some action, some stealth. Good mix of everything. I feel like they have that formula pretty down, so it's fun.
Is there a button in Shadow of the Tomb Raider where Lara just apologizes for causing the apocalypse? Just like a hotkey for apologizing?
Really should.
You can pat llamas, and there's a button for that. I did notice that.
Is that true?
Yes, yeah, it is.
Yeah, they had to.
They
get
played
rid of the
Uncharted too. They're big
apologize.
fans. Yeah. That's cool.
Because of the llama button. Yeah.
Did you write something on the site about it?
I did not. I think Jeff Cork did.
Okay, so Google that.
So yeah, I would look that up. I
He's
think
got
that
some
is
hot
up
takes.
and it's good.
Okay, great. Hey, everybody. I think that's it for a good first half of this episode of the podcast. This is where it gets confusing, Tim, trying to structure this stuff. So if you're watching it live, we're going to go down for about 10, 15 minutes, probably 10 minutes, and then come back up with a great developer panel. This couch is going to be packed, but it'll be fun. If you're watching the YouTube version, a separate YouTube video will be up that you can find in our feed. That'll be the developer panel. Audio version, it'll be coming up right after this break. Tim, look at the computer right next to you there. Do you see there's two buttons on the right-hand side that say stop streaming and stop recording?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to press those
Don't
pretty
press the
soon.
wrong one.
And bye, everybody.
No.
Thanks for